that in times of crisis, ek to, as a people, as a nation, we're geared towards reacting. Good, bad, that's a separate story. But when something happens, all of us kick into action. We need to understand Pakistan. If we need to make Pakistan work, you have to look at it from a local context, not from an outsider's perspective, and certainly not from a global perspective. Female designers for the local craft. There was not any sense of disrespect that, oh, this is pendu, ya ye cheap hai, ya ye bikega nahi. You see, the value was being added onto these plastic items in the name of economic trade.
Then maybe Pakistani music is also something that, that has, in a way come up with a new culture or a Pakistani culture, जिसमें अगर fashion ने किया है synthesis एक.
Where the average Pakistani went through a massive identity crisis. They wanted to wear jeans. They didn't want to wear ajra ka dupatta around their neck. But at the same time, they wanted to have a very Islamic identity.
We find in our podcast or in our research कि पाकिस्तान के अंदर ये potential या इस तरह की चीज़ें हो रही हैं जो maybe we can import out of Pakistan.
So I'm sorry, I don't quite agree when you talk about we need to talk about design and sustainability starting from an urban area. I don't think so. And why does it take an international brand to come in and show us कि इतना अच्छा काम भी हमारे मुल्क में है, हमें पता भी नहीं था, क्यों नहीं है पता?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I am your host Wasif Hussain. I am doing this design podcast series called Tangent, and so far I think आपने हमारे बहुत सारे गेस्ट देखे होंगे जिन्होंने मुख्तलिफ एस्पेक्ट्स डिज़ाइन के आके हमसे शेयर किए, अपनी जर्नीज़ के बारे में बताया, और हमने ये देखा कि पाकिस्तान में डिज़ाइन किस किस तरीके से यूटिलाइज हो रहा है. Today I'm really happy to have a prolific journalist with us. वो ना सिर्फ एक जर्नलिस्ट हैं, she is also an author, a publisher, and then she is hosting the first sustainability podcast in Pakistan. So that's really exciting and interesting. बाकी चीज़ें जो है हम उनसे पूछते हैं. अस्सलाम वालेकुम मेहर.
Walaikum salam, Wasif. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you so much for coming in. And I always been thanking my guests for coming on Sundays.
Yes, this is quite I used to have school on Saturdays. तो एक आदत से तो थी कि स्कूल जाना है, full day है, but waking up on Sunday and prepping for this is a whole new experience altogether.
No, definitely. I think we the whole team appreciate you coming in
thank
here.
you for making time.
Okay. थोड़ा सा अपनी प्रैक्टिस के बारे में बताएंगे कि we know you're a really amazing journalist and prolific author as well.
Thank you.
But वो जो publisher वाली चीज़ है और वो जो podcast वाली चीज़ है उसमें भी थोड़ा सा हमें बताएं कि वो क्या चीज़ है और वो क्या projects हैं.
Zarur. Wasif, I started out as a journalist. I never thought that I would branch out into publishing, but it started, my connection with publishing started when I began working on a book project documenting all the old heritage sites in Multan and how they were crumbling, these structures. And it was a 4-year project. I'm sad to say that many of the structures have now gone. They were never maintained. And that's where the idea of getting into publishing and documenting came into place. But I really got into publishing when I wrote my first book, Pakistan, A Fashionable History, which documents the history of Pakistan's cultural scene, how it began through the lens of fashion. Generally speaking, people look at Pakistan through a very strategic and a sort of a political lens. So this was the first time we were looking at it through something that's around us that we aren't even aware of. We look at fashion as something that's a very cheap thing or something that's just time pass activity, when in reality it forms our consciousness. The publishing aspect came in when India-Pak relations deteriorated after Kashmir. There was this awareness that why are our authors going to India to get published when their books are then sold back to us? Why aren't we taking ownership of our own stories? Why aren't we creating opportunities for our own authors here? So that's how I got into publishing. And when I entered the publishing industry, I can't begin to tell you the amount of horror stories that I came across in terms of waste of resources, waste of paper, waste of the trade routes, author royalties, exploitation. And I thought, this is ridiculous. We need to have a more sustainable model. We need to have a manner of engagement with writers where royalties are respected, writers are given their due credit, and resources are not wasted, whether it's electricity, ink, paper, whatever it is. So that's how I got into publishing. And then the podcast came about during COVID, actually. Prior to publishing, I'd set up a social enterprise which focused heavily on sustainable production when it came to local fabric, particularly two in particular. One was khadr,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was muslin, malmal.
ठीक हो गया.
And between the two, between the social enterprise and the publishing, I began to realize that we needed to talk about this more. We need to talk about how fashion, how literature, how means of production are affecting our lives and those at the rural level. And so the podcast came into being. It was hosted by my cousin, it's co-hosted by my cousin, Fiza, who had a background in natural sciences. So we were able to tap into her knowledge, my experience, and put it together. And it worked out.
Oh,
It worked out.
really nice, really nice. And I can already, take inspiration in the sense that, you're turning crisis situation into projects. One, you did in COVID, and the other one was, India, Pakistan ki jo bhi situation thi, and, you saw it from a different perspective. And instead of, you just thinking, "Acha, ye aise nahi hota, ye waise nahi hota," you converted into, something actionable, and, you came up with,
I think in Pakistan, we were really, really lucky that in times of crisis, as a people, as a nation, we're geared towards reacting. Good, bad, that's a separate story. But when something happens, all of us kick into action. Right now, why we can't do that during normal times is something that, remains to be investigated and looked into. But at the time, at both times, whether it was publishing or whether it was during COVID or whether it was even identifying the loss of these local fabrics, there was this need to sort of question, why is this happening and how did we get to this point? Most importantly, realizing this is when you also have to recognize the people you're working with. We are a visual people. We love touching.
Okay.
It can be anything, whether it's a human being, whether it's fabric, whether it's food. We love using our senses. So if you have to reach out to people, if you have to turn a crisis into something, a solution, or you have to take action, there has to be a tangible aspect to it. And in this case, it was books and then the malmal scarves and the khadr pouches.
Yes, the fabric has, both aspects, the visual aspect and the tactile aspect, as you were saying.
Absolutely. People loved feeling it, and when you package it in a different way, when you change how it's viewed, when you change how it's used in a physical way, you actually begin to see people look at things differently. And I think that's how you can actually start changing people's perspective when they have something tangible. Because again, we are a touchy-feely society. That's not going to change.
Yes. I really, get into the details of sustainability and, that project you did. But before that, what we've been doing on this podcast, trying to, trace back the histories of our guests.
Yeah.
And then, I would really, in fact, the audience, would really want to know, okay, what was your first job? Or, tell us about, first working experience before, coming or, going into such a...
Absolutely. I started working when I was 17 years old. My first job was a dentist's assistant. And I think that was the first time when I was completely thrown, and this was in the United Kingdom, in
Okay.
London.
Take care.
And that was the first time that I was completely thrown out. I had to learn on the job. I had to develop skills as I was learning them because I don't have a medical background, but it was just an opportunity that came my way. And I think that's when this sense of I've got to do things and I've got to do things myself and I've got to learn really quickly. That became the philosophy of my entire career, right? On the other hand, I one memorable, and I think this is where the seed for when you look at what we're talking about now today, supply chains and design and ecology and human rights and climate change, is when I did an internship with Bunyad, this local NGO. It's a UN partner. And there I was in my 3-piece lawn suit, this typical Lahori girl, walking in, strutting in, hair blow dried and everything. Not like this now, but back then, Jawani ka bhi kafi josh tha. So I remember walking in and being told that you have to go out into the field. And, I come from a rural background, but, when you think about field, you think about, sarson ke baag haath hoenge and bahut acha and everything. So you can imagine when I landed up on the border of India and Pakistan, where there were these communities that time had literally forgotten. They had been forgotten because they came from India and they settled down and then they never ever went anywhere else. right? And that's when I realized that this was the field, right? There was no fancy bottled water. ठीक है? And we had to learn how to become dairy farmers. So from morning till evening, I'd spend my entire day, और ये गर्मियाँ थी, this is around June. ठीक है? Dry heat, not even humidity, which I mean, humidity is worse, but dry heat really sucks out everything out of you. And
And you guys are out there in the field, you
there
know.
was 2-3 of us girls, you know,
Okay.
Lahori girls.
Lahori girls.
Lahori
Okay.
girls.
Okay.
And we just sat there and we learned how to do dairy farming. We had to milk the cows. We had to sit there
Oh.
amongst them. Maybe we'd
Oh.
go home smelling of cow shit. But oh, well, you know, that was part of the experience of it.
The part
Where,
of the-
you know,
Yes.
and I think us pura mahina pe we just lived off doodh soda
Huh. Dudh soda. Okay.
because we had to integrate with the community, so we couldn't exactly bring food. And that's where the concept of like, how are these people living? How are they able to take their dairy products into the urban areas? How is this supply chain working? You know, when you look at the big organizations that use dairy products to make milk or chocolate or yogurt based items, and then you look at this this sort of like small community. How is this working? How is this working? And that's when the realization was that if we need to understand Pakistan, if we need to make Pakistan work, you have to look at it from a local context, not from an outsider's perspective, and certainly not from a global perspective.
Okay. I think this is really, you know, the way, you know, you're experiencing in the beginning. This, you know, sort of gives me के जो curiosity है. I think वो भी एक मुझे नजर आ रही है कि, you know, you working as a you know, as an assistant for a dentist, then, you know, you're exploring and, you know, you're wanting to learn about local ways of doing farming.
That's right.
So वो curiosity ही है शायद जो, you know, further भी आपके आगे project में या careers में आपको लेकर गई है. Fashion की भी जो आपने book की है.
जी.
So would you say that there is this element of, you know, exploring in Meher Hussain and,
Absolutely.
you know, trying to figure things out कि ये क्या है, ये कैसे है, क्यों है,
Absolutely.
learning.
I think once I come across something, one of the biggest things I've learned in life is that A, you have to do everything yourself. And secondly, when you start something, you have to get to the bottom of it. I don't disagree with the concept, you know, jack of all trades, log aksar kehte nahi banna chahiye, master of one hona chahiye. I don't quite agree with that because I feel that when you become a master of one, you're limiting yourself and you're limiting your knowledge. And as we've seen over the years, I mean, mine is a generation that's grown up in a globalized world. And of course, now we're seeing more localization. So I think that when you limit yourself, you're not doing yourself any favors, right? And you have to be open to new experiences. You have to be open to new things, even if they don't agree with what you believe in. Otherwise, you're going to remain disconnected, not just from people around you, but from communities who can actually teach you something. From you're denying yourself experiences that you will look at other people having, and you will cultivate that resentment in you. So you've got to take responsibility. You've got to sit back and you've got to think, right, what's on offer? And let's get into it.
No, definitely. I think we have to, you know, take responsibility for those things. Meher, there is a question that, you know, is popping in my head
Sure.
when you talked about Multan and you talked about, you know, those archetypes crumbling.
Yes.
I had a similar, you know, observation, but it was related to crafts.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
over the period of, you know, maybe past 15 years, what I've observed, or, you know, what I saw कि जो हमारी ट्रेडिशनल क्राफ्ट होती थी ना, जैसे अगर आप मरी में जाते हैं तो ख़ास किस्म के आपको खिलौने मिलते थे या कोई ख़ास किस्म की चीज़ मिलती थी. इफ़ यू गोइंग अप नॉर्थ, यू नो, इन नारायण का खान और इवन, यू नो, फर्दर, यू वुड हैव अ डिफरेंट साइड ऑफ सॉर्ट ऑफ, यू नो, मटीरियल कल्चर और मटीरियल चीज़ें. पंजाब में आप आते थे तो मुख्तलिफ ट्रक्स आपको मिलते थे, या वो जिस तरह वो ही होते, वो जो रोटी रखने के लिए जो डब्बे होते हैं, वो मुख्तलिफ चीज़ें,
चिंगेरियाँ।
चंगेरियाँ,
जी,
और वो
बिल्कुल।
फिर मेटल की चीज़ें भी होती थी, फिर कहीं पे स्टोन का काम हो रहा है.
बिल्कुल।
जिस तरह मुल्तान में जाएँ फिर ऑफ कोर्स वो फैब्रिक एंड अजरक की चीज़ें शुरू हो जाती हैं. Those things I saw, you know, like in past 15 years, instead of, you know, like expanding or, you know, branching out into different segments, they've sort of, you know, again, वो vanish हो रही हैं शायद.
They're being marginalized, pushed away.
Pushed away, and
Yeah.
then I don't know if it's relevant or not, कि वो फिर ना कहीं पर हर जगह पे वो कुछ प्लास्टिक की चीज़ें नज़र आना शुरू हो गई हैं.
बिल्कुल, that's right.
वो
That's right.
सॉरी, आप ऊपर जाएँ, नारायण करान में भी जाएँ, वहाँ पर भी वो चीज़ आपको वहीं नज़र आएगी. आप बहावलपुर में किसी एक बड़े बाज़ार में या चौक में जाएँ, वहाँ पे भी आपको वो चीज़ें नज़र आएँगी. थोड़ा सा क्वेश्चन लंबा हो गया, but I
नहीं, नहीं,
have
I see your point. Like, why is this happening?
why is this happening? Because you're pointing out, the similar thing in Multan के वो चीज़ हो रही है. So what's your
Absolutely. Okay, so first of all, when you look at Pakistani culture, let's start off from when Pakistan was created. It's an artificial country, right? It's been created. It's not an organic country के over time ban gaya, us tarah nahi hai. Now, when you create a country, in the case of Pakistan, there was an outright rejection of anything that is Indian, which is ironic because we consumed a lot of Indian culture. Bollywood being the biggest one. I mean, I still remember in 90s me going to my local darzi who stitched clothes for my dadi, who stitched clothes for my mother, and uski puri jo thi na dukaan mein sirf Madhuri Dixit ki tasveerein thi. Right? वही cuts, वही designs, and I remember walking and going, जी ये वाली कमीज सिलवानी है और ये वाले sleeves, puff sleeves रखने हैं अपने, 80s, 90s वाले जो थे. But I think a lot Pakistani culture came into being through fashion. When I talk about fashion for the modern day Pakistani kid, they're going to be thinking bridal fashion. They're going to be thinking a lot of crystal, chammak, all of that. When in reality, when you look at our fashion, it starts from the rural areas. It starts from at the grassroots level, right? And this is where I feel that the conversation around design in Pakistan needs to begin, because when we are talking about design, a lot of people are coming in from a Western lens. That how do we use urban spaces? How do we create sustainable methods of production? How do we have a clean environment? This is all very urban-based talk, right? And that's something I'm going to expand upon, and how that's a form of control as well, and exclusion, which is the most important thing. So the grassroots level is where our craft came from. On the basis of the craft, we had these, female designers. For example, Noor Jahan Bilgrami, Mahin Khan, Seher Sehgal, Faiza Sami, Banto Kazmi, Suhra Kazmi. These were women who went out of their homes, breaking the concept of what an urban begum should be, into the rural areas to explore what can be found. What they found blew their minds, and on the basis of that, they began to utilize local craft, creating a connection with the urban and the rural, and started designing. Now, in that design, there was great respect for the local craft. So when you looked at block printing techniques, when you look at embroidery techniques, when you look at fabric weaving, there was great respect by these female designers for the local craft. There was not any sense of disrespect that, oh, this is pendu, या ये cheap है, या ये बिकेगा नहीं, या इसकी जगह अगर हम French धागा ले आए, वो वाली चीज़ नहीं थी. There was a great respect for value because it wasn't just craft, it was an ancient tradition. These are old values that they were bringing in and giving to the country, saying कि this is what it means to be Pakistani. And on the basis of that is when the industry began to grow, and the media as well. Publications began to come up, right? And of course, the ultimate culmination of all of this was the famous music video, Hamaj.
Shafkat Aman Atari wali?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the ultimate culmination of what it meant to be Pakistani.
Okay. I'll go back and see that again.
You must. And this time you'll see it differently. Who's in it, how the styling was done, the storytelling, the clothes, the makeup, the hair, the media around it, all of it, right? So I think when that began happening, a fashion industry came into formation, and through that, pop culture emerged.
Pakistani culture
emerged. Now, why is this important? Because they were bringing forth exactly what you're saying, from different regions, different craft was coming into the urban areas and being produced as, what we see today.
Objects,
Objects, physical objects. And there was a lot of innovation with it as well. The color scheme. Techniques वही थी, palette बदल रहा था. ठीक है?
और वो उसको कॉन्टेक्चुअलाइज भी मॉडर्न सेंस में कर रहे थे.
बिल्कुल कर रहे थे.
आज के लोगों के लिए कर रहे थे, आज की ऑडियंस के लिए कर रहे थे, और वो
ये 80s से शुरू हुआ था काम.
80s से शुरू हुआ था.
70s, 80s से, and then it boomed in the 90s. Right? And then what began to happen was the entrance of plastic. Now, this is where you need to understand that when we're talking about design, you have to look at regional ecology. Regional ecology से क्या होता है, there's two things to consider. One is the cultural side, one is the economic side. Now, cultural side से आपके artisans की इज्जत भी बहुत हो रही थी कि they were able to stay in Androon Sindh, or they were able to stay in Swat, or they were able to stay in Bahawalpur. वहाँ से ही वो अपना काम भी कर रही थी ताकि उनके cultural norms की इज्जत हो रही थी. You know, this idea कि we have to come in and disrupt culture because it doesn't agree with you. That's not how things are going to work. You have to respect ancient forms of living, even if they don't agree with your modern day sensibilities. It is what it is. But you can work with it. You don't work against it, you work with it. That's how change comes into being. The biggest issue between the culture and the economic was who's benefiting, right? And who's losing,
Okay.
right? Now, when you talk about who's benefiting, who's losing, the economic aspect comes in. Okay. So while you had this entire cultural, not even revival, I'll say cultural awareness that was taking place, you have to look at who was losing out. Is it the urban businessmen who were losing out,
Or the craftsman.
or was it the craftsmen? And the craftsmen, आप देखो उनकी सोशल मोबिलिटी भी तो कोई नहीं हुई ना. जो 20 साल पहले ब्लॉक प्रिंटिंग कर रहा था, आज उसका नवासा या पोता ब्लॉक प्रिंटिंग कर रहा है. जो कढ़ाई वाली औरत थी, वो उसकी नवासी या पोती आज वही कढ़ाई कर रही है, राइट? सो सोशल मोबिलिटी नहीं थी. बट अगेन दिस सेंस ऑफ बीइंग थ्रेटन्ड इन द अर्बन एरियाज, that's where you begin to question कि who was getting worried and why was this need to sort of eradicate this and bring form, you know, materials that came from abroad and packages कि जी ये बाहर से आया है, therefore it has more value. So you see, the value was being added onto these plastic items in the name of economic trade.
Or modernity as well.
Modernity as well, which unfortunately we seem to mix with progress.
Yeah.
And liberalism, even though these three things, as good as they are in their own right, you can't interchange.
Yes, they're very separate. They're
very separate.
They're very separate.
And so that's why over the years, particularly during the war on terror, where the average Pakistani went through a massive identity crisis. You know, they wanted to wear jeans. They didn't want to wear ajrak ka dupatta around their neck. But at the same time, they wanted to have a very Islamic identity. So when that was happening, that was exploited. That was exploited. And with the result, you have the whole industry of crafts suffering because A, they're not in the urban centers. They don't hold much power. I believe they do hold power. They just aren't made aware of it, or they've been told कि जी आप ही में value कोई नहीं है. So that's where things began to change.
Okay. This gives me a new perspective because I, as a product designer, I used to think ऐसा ये जो हमारा material culture है,
जी.
because what you've been talking about fashion and craftsmanship, वो चीज़ें भी इससे relevant है. But मैं भी सोचता था कि ये objects कहाँ जा रहे हैं
जी.
as a product designer. ये material की जो हमारी जिस तरीके से हम मटेरियल को डील करते हैं, जिस तरीके से हम वुड को डील करते हैं, स्टोन को
बिल्कुल,
डील करते हैं, या
बिल्कुल.
हम फर्नीचर बनाते हैं, चिन्योट है या लाहौर का फर्नीचर है या टेक्सला का है, तो ये सब चीज़ें किधर को ये क्यों से इम्पैक्ट हुए. बट व्हाट you've sort of connected the dots for me, that really gives me कि अच्छा ये शायद वही ये जो
हमारा टैंजिबल और इनटैंजिबल कल्चर और हेरिटेज जो है वो वहीं का वहीं रूरल एरियाज में ही रह गया था. एंड एज द कंट्री वेंट थ्रू मैसिव पॉलिटिकल, इकोनॉमिक, सोशल अपहीवल, these communities, they sort of, they were pushed aside and they went inwards. They were never really given the chance to expand. And that's, I think that's criminal.
Then there's another thing that's popping in my head.
Yeah.
कि then maybe Pakistani music is also something that that has in a way come up with a new culture or a Pakistani culture. जिस तरह अगर fashion ने किया है synthesis एक Pakistani identity का, Pakistani
जी, बिल्कुल.
way का, would you say that like maybe music is also something similar which has done, I don't know if it's related to our discussion
I
or not.
think with music you see how corporations have taken folk music and they've sort of repackaged it. Right now, some people might have concerns with it by saying कि जी ये जो है they're reducing it to a commercial entity. But on the other hand, I think it's also important to see how musicians are engaging with local communities. Are they even engaging? What you see on television, for example, is there a sense of willingness to take, for example, what Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan did, and which is why I believe he's immortal. I mean, he had his talent, of course, but he wasn't afraid of experimenting while staying true to his essence. So he didn't completely remove what he was doing, but he actually borrowed elements from the West and he said, "Ek second, I'm not going to tailor my music according to you. I'm going to use your things and tailor them according to what I want to do with them." That's empowerment. And I think our musicians, our craftsmen, our designers, somewhere along the way, they lost that power. And I think now, hopefully, as more Gen Z is more aware, hopefully they'll take back that empowerment.
Again, maybe every crisis has that opportunity to
Yes.
turn that
Yes.
into a project.
Please, कोई सुन रहा है तो आप लोग करने हैं.
Of
That's
course,
right.
Meher can help you, consult within that. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's come to maybe, sustainability wala project,
Sure.
the podcast that you're doing. Please tell us about that, what sort of, discussions you've had, what sort of, focus you had on that.
Yeah.
And where, maybe, what sort of, awareness you're trying to build in Pakistan.
Okay. Sustainability as a concept in Pakistan is based on the assumption that गाँव के जो लोग होते हैं, rural folk or peasantry, and their relationship with nature, with खेती बाड़ी, it is purely economic. That's so reductive and so insulting, right? Because if you're reducing nature to its status as an economic entity, it immediately becomes something that needs to be protected only for capital gains.
So you can make money or products.
You make money out of soil and that's it. And that's not the way to do it. That's not being sustainable. आप ये सोच रहे हो कि जी इस खेत में से हम 10 साल कितनी गंदम की यील्ड ला सकते हैं कि पूरा मुल्क खाता रहे. लेकिन आप ये नहीं देखें कि सॉइल डीजनरेशन कितनी हो रही है. आपकी सीड्स जो हैं हाइब्रिड सीड्स हैं या देसी सीड हैं, इनमें रिसर्च डेवलपमेंट कोई नहीं हो रही. आपकी यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ वाटर कितनी हो रही है. और ये कह रहा है कि जी खेती बाड़ी के बीच में अगर नहीं हो रहा, क्लाइमेट चेंज आ रहा है, तो ये जी अपना क्राफ्ट वर्क कर लें. ऐसी बात नहीं होती. You have to understand sustainability. It's a way of living, right? And in that you have to understand the indigenous. ठीक है. The indigenous thought when it comes to sustainability is, I'm going to quote a Saraiki poet here, Ashu Lal, who says, "O river, deep is your water. We are the children and you our guardian." So you see the switch. Nature is not something to be protected. We need to protect ourselves through nature. Okay. Now, the sustainability podcast came about during COVID because sustainability became a trend word around that time. We need sustainable methods of production. We need sustainable supply chains. We need sustainable design, sustainable this, sustainable that. And it was like, well, hang on a second. Do you guys even know what you're talking about? And again, here is where I feel that there's a difference between the East and the West. The West is thinking through economic gains. The West is thinking through a capital, which is fine. That's their model. But in the case of Pakistan, we need to understand sustainability through our own lens, right? So, for example, the Pakistani urban middle class environmental movement, are they even able to handle the issues of their own cities? Just look at Karachi. Right?
Okay.
Or is, when we talk about sustainability in Pakistan, I feel that we are still maintaining a culture of exclusion. And really upholding the silence of the less privileged who already have less access to urban spaces where they can engage with, let's say, lobby groups or even people like us, the rural people again. So the idea of the sustainability podcast was to talk about these things and to raise awareness amongst the Pakistani people. By no means am I claiming that we made a huge dent or anything. It was just such a small effort on the part of Fiza and myself. Fiza has a background in natural sciences. I was coming from my experience with publishing and, of course, the work that I was doing with Malmal and Khadar. So we put the two, our two minds together and we were like, let's see what we can come up with. And we engaged with local people to talk about concepts such as environment, such as soil, water, fast fashion. The idea of food, how it's food security and how it's related to soil and how it affects our consumption in urban areas. And so these were conversations. And what struck us was people were enjoying this. I genuinely thought nobody was going to be interested. But the amount of feedback that we got, and there was this constant demand for can you guys also talk to us about this? Can you also talk about these issues? That got me thinking that we haven't even scratched the surface when it comes to sustainability in Pakistan. And yet the knowledge is there within us, within our own people, only if we're willing to engage.
Okay. And please tell me, how was this experience in a localized, context? Because we do hear, a lot of talk around sustainability in a global perspective or, in a Western perspective. But, you've been, dealing with this in a localized, in a very Pakistani perspective.
Yeah.
So what were, the challenges and, what were the, some new positive finds that, you could say, hey, this is, what we find in our podcast or in our research के पाकिस्तान के अंदर ये potential या इस तरह की चीज़ें हो रही हैं जो maybe we can import out of Pakistan to other countries.
Absolutely. One of the earliest things that we discovered through our podcast was the awareness that people didn't have of how climate change is linked to gender
Okay.
and human rights. There was this definite need for, I suppose, a recognition of the lack of research that people have access to when it comes to methods of production, whether it's cotton cultivation, whether it's the crop cycles, whether it's the utilization of water. People know about these things through what they're reading on Google, but there's very little awareness in terms of actually going out into the field and connecting with those who are actually engaging with these elements, whether it's, a farmer or the peasantry at large, and talking to them about it. Another was and this really, really shocked me, was how people don't know how our methods of production work within the country, right? They see gimmicks. Okay, here's this wonderful mic. It's made from recyclable plastic, and people are like, oh, wow, this is sustainable. It's not that way. You need to look at your supply chains. You need to look at where your resources are coming from. You need to understand how your resources are being used in a local context. Going back to like my work experience, for example, dairy farming, हम दूध चोक हम बैठे हुए थे, but it was like, ये अब स्टील की बाल्टी में से नेस्ले के पास कैसे जाएगा? And the whole idea of the carbon footprint and the whole idea of the purity of it and how much money actually trickles down to the local level for them in order to engage with their livestock in a healthier manner. So these were issues, and we still have to answer all of them, But this was really coming to the fore, and I think the most striking aspect was that log kaam kar rahe hain is pe. But I think people are working individually, and there needs to be a collective effort for all of us to engage with each other and be like, Acha, what is it that you're doing? What is it that I'm doing? How can we collaborate? How can we do this? How can we change this into policies, into legislation? Because look, you can't work without the state. The state has a reach that the private sector does not have. And most certainly we don't have as individuals. So these were sort of gaps that I began to see, and I thought, we've got a long way to go.
No, definitely implementation and large scale impact definitely comes from policy and from the government's participation. We had a guest last week, Sahar Malik. She worked as a creative director in advertising, and we also we ended up talking about sustainability and how that is changing fashion and some new trends. So we we discussed that maybe, for example, there are some behaviors in our society or some desi habits that could be if we see in a different perspective, they could be labeled as sustainable, but जैसे हम वही है कि वो जो रज़ाइयाँ हम सर्दियाँ जब आती हैं दोबारा से हम ऊन निकाल के रज़ाइयाँ साफ़ करवाते हैं एंड देन वी रिफिल इट। फॉर एग्जांपल लाहौर में तो मैंने 2-3 ऐसी प्रॉपर वो देखी हैं मार्केट्स जहाँ पे यू कैन गेट योर एनर्जी सेवर फिक्स्ड।
Yeah. Yeah,
This
हाँ,
is
बिल्कुल.
I think this is amazing, like
हाँ.
this is something maybe someone
वही ना लोकलाइजेशन शुरू हो रही है
कि
ना.
कोई इसको
हाँ.
बिजनेस मॉडल में कन्वर्ट कर ले, सो वेस्ट वुड बी अमेज्ड बाय इट। जैसे ये हफीज
The
सेन
West doesn't need to be amazed. That's the thing.
oh, I
The
would-
West doesn't need to be amazed. I think
Yes.
we have so much to teach the West.
Yes, or for example, again, we were talking about how ideas from Pakistan can go out
Absolutely.
instead of we always being receptive and taking ideas from abroad and incorporating into our society. But यही अगर हम sustainability की बात करते हैं कि वही हमने रली की भी बात की कि we already had like a proper tradition which is connected with 1,000 years of history
Yeah.
कि वो we were converting textile into a reusable fabric.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
of course वो भी फिर हमने वो भी बात की कि जैसे ना कुछ गली मोहल्लों में वो आते हैं मैंने कहीं पे यहाँ सदर से गुजरा था, मैंने वो आवाज़ सुनी
जी.
थी कि प्लास्टिक दे के पता नहीं पापड़ ले लो कि पता नहीं इस तरह की कोई
हाँ,
चीज़।
हाँ, हाँ।
सो वो जो है
That trade barter
ट्रेड
system.
बार्टर सिस्टम, बट देन
बिल्कुल।
ही इज दैट वो जो भी सिस्टम है कबाड़िए का, जो भी, आई डोंट नो व्हाट इट इज, बट दे टेकिंग अवे दैट प्लास्टिक एंड देन पुटिंग इट इनटू फैक्ट्रीज, और उनको वो जो भी सेल कर रहे हैं
बिल्कुल।
इन अ सोसाइटी के, जहाँ पे वही जिस तरह आप वो बात पॉइंट आउट कर रही हैं कि स्ट्रक्चरली हम शायद चीज़ों को सस्टेनेबली नहीं कर रहे,
जी।
बट शायद हम हैबिचुअली या कोई हमारी वही देसी कोई बिहेवियर्स हैं जो शायद सस्टेनेबल हैं, तो हम
Absolutely.
उनको अगर बी मोर अवेयर ऑफ दैट, बी मोर कॉन्शियस ऑफ दैट, बी एंड ट्राई टू स्केल देम अप, और ट्राई टू
एब्सोल्युटली। अब जो जिस तरह आपने बात की रज़ाइयों वाली जो है हमारी जो धुलाईज़ होती हैं, अब आप देख लें लिविंग इन एन अर्बन एरिया एंड आई गो बैक टू द अर्बन एरिया बिकॉज़ दीज़ कन्वर्सेशंस आर टेकिंग प्लेस हियर, दे आर नॉट टेकिंग प्लेस इन रूरल एरियाज़ व्हिच इज़ वेयर दे शुड बी बिकॉज़ दैट्स वेयर सस्टेनेबिलिटी विल एक्चुअली बिगिन. In urban areas, let's say, it's just so much easier अगर आप चैनुआन से जाके एक रज़ाई उठा लें हर सीज़न. So you see that practice of taking a रज़ाई, उसके धागे निकालने, रुई को निकालना, धूप में रखना, it's not a matter of it being time consuming. It's just that what's convenient in an urban, setting. And I think that that's something that was being discussed in COVID as well, that we need to lead slower lives. Right. And I think this is where you begin to question, that curious aspect that you said, you need to begin to question that, what am I doing with my life? As existential as it sounds, but you've got to put it in a very specific context, that how am I living my life? How am I utilizing my money? You can't talk about sustainability and you can't talk about Pakistan's future if you're not even beginning to question how water is used, right, on a daily basis. You have to hold people to account, those who are in power. कि जी आप बताएं कि आप लोगों की क्या पॉलिसीज कहती हैं, लेजिस्लेशन क्या कहती है. So you see, it does start from one individual. Like I often find that people have this hopelessness कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं. We already have conscious consumerism. We don't need to be told about it. For example, gote ka dupatta. It's something that's handed down from generation to generation, from a grandmother to her daughter-in-law, who then gives it on to her daughter or her granddaughter. Mass consumption was never part of our society. It's an international concept, a Western concept that's been thrust upon us because we've been, particularly in urban spaces, we've been tailored to believe that economic activity means everything is good and happy. It doesn't work that way. We have always had conscious consumerism. And it's very much prevalent in rural areas where there's value for money, where there's an understanding of an ancient form of living. Again, you may not agree with it. You may not agree with our traditions. You may not agree with our culture. But when you're talking about sustainability, you have to understand how their methods of production are. You have to understand how they're utilizing resources, and you have to understand their patterns of consumption. In urban areas, they totally lost the plot. So I'm sorry, I don't quite agree when you talk about we need to talk about design and sustainability starting from an urban area. I don't think so.
Meher, some people say that countries like Pakistan and
Yeah.
for example Mexico or Brazil, they've been trying to do that, but they're not entirely industrialized, na? As
Yeah.
some of the other developed countries. So yes, they have some disadvantages, but one of the advantages that they have is that they can work on their internal models. Like for example, हमने जो भी बातें की कि हमारा अगर पाकिस्तान में कॉन्शियस कंज्यूमरिज्म पहले से एग्जिस्ट करता है, या हमारी सस्टेनेबिलिटी की प्रैक्टिसेस कुछ हैं
बिल्कुल.
जो एग्जिस्ट करती हैं.
बिल्कुल.
So countries like Pakistan, they have this advantage that they can work on those models, work on those behaviors, convert them
Yeah.
into frameworks, and then maybe not for their own good, utilize them, but maybe become as a case study for global players and global partners.
Absolutely.
So what's your thought on that?
Absolutely. I think this is the local Pakistan industries, whatever they are, they've done all they could do. Right. And let's not hide away from the fact that Pakistan has faced a lot of global pressures, social upheavals, economic turmoil, political changes, all of these things. And despite everything, our local industries, particularly those, for example, the textile industry, they've tried to do the best that they could do. Right. I think that we lost out in terms of our disconnect. While there was a need to focus intensely on growth, not everyone was on the same page. So I'm talking about different communities who perhaps have the resources or who have the arts and craft, which if it is applied in an industrial aspect can engage with consumers within and outside of Pakistan. That's what India did, right? They took their local craft, they commercialized them, and then they took it global. I think in Pakistan, that awareness is coming back. It did start. It did start in the 80s and 90s, particularly in craft, particularly in fashion. And then, of course, there was a war on terror, jiski wajah se everything sort of came to a halt and the direction changed. But now I do see that changing. I think that when it comes to urban areas, there is definitely a need to open up more. And I do see, Gen Z again, I do see them opening up and engaging with communities. And I have great hope that we might just see the Pakistani version of Accessorize. We've seen Khadi. Khadi did that. Khadi's model is exemplary in terms of having an industrial model and then utilizing local fabric and local patterns and local minds and then taking it global. So I look forward to seeing the next international Accessorize.
No, definitely. I think, again, becoming Khadi in that, sort of economic and political environment, it's amazing,
It is.
20 years of, war and turmoil and, like, sort of disbelief that they had
But
to...
वो लगे रहे ना, अपना काम वो करते रहे. That's my point. कि you don't need to sit and think कि कैसे करेंगे, कहाँ से करेंगे, how do we do this? You just need to look within. And you just need to look beyond your comfort zone and beyond your bubbles. And everything is there. Then it comes down to if some people have the resources, if you have the mindset to create a new economic model, which is possible, and particularly in a sustainable aspect, I don't see why not. I do it. Just putting myself out there. But I do it. I did it with my publishing. I did it with the social enterprise. And I think if you are a person of privilege, and I will always acknowledge my privilege, I do what I do not because I can, but because I have the luxury to do so. Ek to tha na, you do what you can, but the other is that you have the luxury. I have the luxury to do what I can. And I feel that it's my responsibility as... even though I have a rural background, but I'm very much part of the urban center of Lahore as well. I think it's my responsibility to create an economic model and show people that it is possible. TK, profits, gains may not be as high, but they do eventually come in. And that's the same in every business, every single business.
And thanks to you today, we've discovered, multiple case studies when you were talking about Banto Kazmi and, that whole generation of designers, who went out there.
They did it.
They did it.
They did it. So
maybe,
I don't see why we can't do it again.
We can't do it. And then maybe Gen Z, they can, take inspiration from, Khadi, how to survive in economic environment. And then like Banto Kazmi and all those people.
Absolutely.
How to be socially and culturally and, ecologically relevant.
But I think even if you look at your rural artisans, Wasif, for example, there's one case study that I really want to highlight here.
Right.
This is the story of Naseem Baji. Naseem Baji was associated with Karwan Crafts Foundation based here in Lahore. Now, during COVID, Naseem Baji reached out to me and she said, Kiji, I don't know how she found me, right? And कई दफ़ा you have that gut instinct, अक्सर Facebook पे messages आते, will you do the friendship with me वगैरह, ठीक है. This was one of those messages that wasn't even in my inbox, it was in my message request, and I thought, yeah, now what? So when I opened it, and in broken English, and in Urdu, Roman English में लिखी हुई, she had said कि जी इस तरह कोविड की वजह से मैं शहरों में exhibitions नहीं हो रही और मेरा काम जो है रुक गया है, तो आप मेरी मदद करें. So I thought, who is this? Why is she reaching out to me? But something in my gut was like, take a look at it. That curiosity aspect.
Let's explore.
Let's explore what this is. And it turned out she was a Hazara woman who used to do Khaddar ki Pulkari embroidered shawls and stoles by hand. ठीक है. And I said, okay, send me pictures of the work that you're doing. And thanks to, Karwan, she was digitally literate. I mean, this is a woman, all of these artisans that Karwan had trained, they never had formal education, but they'd been taught to use Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp to encourage business growth. So she sent me some pictures on WhatsApp and I was blown away. I was like, look at the embroidery, all hand, ancient patterns, which tell a story. So the flower, the bird, the patterns, the techniques, everything tells a folklore story, right? So I said, okay, well, this is fantastic. And I said, Naseem Baji, I'll buy a couple of stoles from you, okay? And let's see if we can do something here in Lahore. So I bought some stoles from her and I gave them out to people in Lahore. And people were blown away. They were like, we've never seen this kind of work before. ये हमें क्यों नहीं पता? Because shawls का जब आप सोचते हो, आप कश्मीरी shawls सोचते हो. You never really realize. And again, this is the disconnect between the urban and the rural, and where there's so much potential for growth, economic activity as well. And then Sonia Rahman, she picked up the story. She interviewed Naseem Baji for Forbes. And it was the first time that even the West had come across the idea of an artisan who's digitally literate and who's doing this form of embroidery. And after that story, when it came out, was when our local designers began to take notice. Ki, Acha, chalo, how can we use pulkari in our designs? And it was like, guys, you use, imported crystals, but you don't use your local handicraft, right? But today, I'm pleased to say that Naseem Baji, when I called her up, I said, Naseem Baji ko shawl chahiye. She said, Baji, mere paas time nahi, mere paas kaam bahut zyada hai. It's wonderful. But it was like, yeah,
So,
acha,
she's
theek hai.
busy, huh?
She's busy. But again, you see what can happen? You see the economic activity. She's earning enough to support her children, to send them to school. Any designers, zyadatar Karachi ke the, who engaged with her, which again shows ki why, why aren't the other urban centers picking up? But they managed to come up with new designs. They were taking that craft of pulkari. They were taking the floss thread that is used in pulkari, aam dhaga nahi istemal hota, and utilizing it and innovating with it to create new designs. It's a win-win situation, guys. What's the problem? Why aren't we doing this more often? It sounds so simple, but it is simple. It is simple.
You know what I feel like, in this, again, this is amazing, again, another case study. Thank you for, telling कि locally चीज़ें भी यहाँ से किस तरीके से
Yeah.
हैं और survive भी कर सकती हैं और उसको हम global level पे भी scale कर सकते हैं. And I would definitely look up Naseem Baji and, that Pulkari wala project.
Definitely, she's on Instagram. I think her Instagram is called Naseem Pulkari. But definitely, and she's very trained. She's been doing this since she was a child herself. And I think you just need to, I mean, there are so many artisans out on Instagram now who are digitally literate. And I think it's just a matter of engaging with them. And they have the skills, they have the techniques. Because of their lack of accessibility to urban areas, because of their lack of exposure, they may not have the ideas. But again, Vasif, that's where people like you and I come in. We have the exposure. Why can't we do it? Why can't we tell them कि जी आपने इस तरह करना है, आपने ये पैटर्न बनाना है, आपने ये मोटिव बनाना है, आपने ये कलर स्कीम्स करनी है. They'll do the rest.
And you know what? I feel like there is this, this missing, cog where people like you and I, or, for example, the marketeers who are, able to tell that story to, a viable audience.
Yeah.
Because वो product की क्वालिटी भी अच्छी है, प्रोडक्ट की रेलेवेंस भी है, जिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हम बात कर रहे थे ना कि
देखो प्रोडक्ट क्वालिटी अगर आती है, अगेन इट कम्स डाउन टू अस हु हैव दैट नॉलेज, who've been privileged enough to have that education. Because you see, when you're looking at something that's handmade, right, it's bound to have flaws in it. And that's where people like you and I come in, and we have to teach them कि जी अगर आपने ये पैटर्न बनाया है, आपने यही चीज़ replicate करनी है. Right? Now, this is where mass production comes into play, because mass machine का काम है, वो तो जी वही चीज़ बन जाएगी, पर उसका वैल्यू क्या है? आप
मे बी प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट में उनको उस तरीके से हेल्प करना कि अच्छा
बिल्कुल
एंड जो टारगेट ऑडियंस है
धागा सही तरह बांधना
वो
है,
कैसे हो सकता है,
बिल्कुल
बिकॉज वो कर तो सकते हैं, उनके पास वो कैपेसिटी तो है और वो स्किल तो है, वो
बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं. बट अगेन फाइन ट्यून करना फॉर लेट्स से इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड लेवल या व्हाटएवर इट इज,
और फॉर लाइक जिस तरह ये लोकल ब्रांड्स ने भी
Local
किया,
brands
अगेन
ने किया,
बंतो
बिल्कुल.
काज़मी एंड खाड़ी एंड ऑल दोस पीपल कि अगर उन्होंने वही अपने एक कैपिटल या अपने जो भी इकोनॉमिक मॉडल के थ्रू उन्होंने लोकल चीज़ों को उठा के स्केल अप किया,
जी
सो क्राफ्ट के लोगों के साथ भी इफ पीपल लाइक यू एंड आई एंगेज और पीपल फ्रॉम मार्केटिंग एंड प्रोडक्ट,
स्केलिंग अप में भी वहाँ से फ़र्क आ जाता है थोड़ा सा. आप स्केलिंग अप सोच रहे हैं वेस्टर्न स्टाइल से. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपके पास ये एक प्रोडक्ट है, दिस माइक, राइट, इट्स मेड इन दिस वे. नाउ यू आर गोइंग टू वांट 100 ऑफ दीज इन एग्जैक्टली द सेम वे, राइट? Maybe the capacity for creating 100 is not there. Maybe the capacity for creating 50 of these is there, right? So then what do? Then you diversify. You increase your product range, which is what I did with Zuka accessories. Once I realized Manmal is a fabric that's dying out at once, I could only get a thon which had, 17 meters of pure Malmal. 17 meters, nothing. It's nothing. So then what did? I started researching on other local fabric, which is khadar. Khadar ke saath aap kya kar sakte ho? So you see, when you're talking about capacity, you have to understand, again, you can't apply a Western concept, an international concept here. You have to work with what you have.
Yes. And again, I was also thinking in the same sustainable aspect.
Hmm.
कि वही, for example, if it's not 100, but again, let's suppose 35,
Small batches kar lo.
small patches कर ले, but then, make those Naseem Bajis busy. कि वो फिर engage होते
Keep
हैं.
them busy.
Like not just one Naseem
Yeah.
Baji, make like 15, 20 or 30 Naseem Bajis.
Absolutely.
So that that social and cultural history gets archived as well, but then propagated to those urban audiences or even
You're
rural
creating
audiences,
value through that.
value
Yeah.
archiving, and then helping it propagate in of course a economic way as well, because हम जिस राइटर्स या आर्टिस्ट या डिज़ाइनर लोग हैं, हम शायद दिल के थोड़े अच्छे होते हैं, हम इन चीज़ों को समझते हैं और इन चीज़ों की बातें करते रहते हैं।
Hmm.
लेकिन जैसे वो जो क्राफ्ट की चीज़ें हैं या जो भी हम इन क्राफ्ट्समैन की बातें कर रहे हैं, वो उनकी प्रोडक्ट शायद उस लिए नहीं आगे जा पाती, क्योंकि वही जो सप्लाई चेन बननी है या जो वो डिमांड बननी है या वो जो
Market
एक पूरा
linkages आने हैं।
जो चीज़ निकलनी है, वो आई थिंक इसी तरीके से अगर जो भी जिस भी स्केल पे, बट सस्टेनेबल स्केल पे अगर स्केल हो
तो
तो
बिल्कुल हो सकती है।
है ना?
मतलब आप देखिए, एक और केस स्टडी है, द फ्रेंच ब्रांड क्लोई। ठीक है, अब आई फाइंड इट्स स्टैगरिंग, मतलब खुदा का वास्ता, प्लीज, एक फ्रेंच ब्रांड comes to Pakistan, right? And they find this tiny organization, okay, that's working with Afghan refugees based in Peshawar. And वो उनको काम देते हैं. Now, this is a very famous bag. Everyone has seen it. It was the Chloe tote. It has Chloe written on it. And there's a strip next to it of embroidered fabric, right? Those are Afghan artisans living in Pakistan. They were refugees. I find it staggering that in Pakistan, where jute tote bags are being produced, we've not, in Sindh, we've not taken those jute handbags in Sindh, applied our local craft and put forward something new. Chloe ne kiya to bahut acha tha. हम लोग करें तो, and then the idea that what is our, again वो industry की बात आ जाती, what are our industries doing, what are our local designers doing? And designers, I don't just mean in terms of clothing, I mean those who are actively involved in the design practice as well, you, me, many others. What are we doing then? I mean, again, why does it take an international brand to come in and show us कि इतना अच्छा काम भी हमारे मुल्क में है, हमें पता भी नहीं था? क्यों नहीं है पता? मुल्क हमारा है, लोग हमारे हैं, हमें क्यों नहीं पता? पता होना चाहिए.
नहीं, I think definitely this is something that we should definitely work on that. People like you and I as well, and other
Yeah.
people from audience. I had a great time.
Thank you, Vasif.
I think we were really we dived into your journey as well. Not that many people curious as you and going out in the farm and like
I'll never
working in-
forget it.
yes.
हाँ.
But then I had really good time because we critically analyze supply chains and हम बहुत सारी बातें की, हमने traditions की
बिल्कुल.
बातें की. But then I think वही जो 2-3 मुझे केस स्टडीज आज नजर आई कि वो जो फैशन के अंदर जिस तरीके से उन्होंने बिल्ड किया,
जी बिल्कुल.
and then Naseem Baji wali story.
Hmm.
I think then I would also try to.
That's a story by Sonia Rahman on Forbes.
Yes.
You
But then
must
of course
look it up.
she reached out to you and that scaled up as well.
But again,
Yeah.
you see, it just takes one person. वो एक औरत थी, और मैं भी तो एक ही थी. And it was like, right, let's do this.
Or it
It
takes
one person.
to start the party, है ना?
That's it. That's it.
बिल्कुल ऐसे ही. Thank you so much, Meher.
Thank you, Vasif, for having me. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.